Hi guys, welcome back to Girl Therapy. I'm your host, Nicole. Thank you so much for coming back another week. I am so excited to have you guys here today. We are going to be talking about friendship breakups, all the things, toxic friends, moving on from a friendship breakup, how to break up with a friend if you need to be, how to deal with a friend maybe breaking up with you, and friendship standards, all the things surrounding friendships we're going to be talking about today. So it's going to be a jam-packed episode. Before we get into it, let's just do a little recap. So I just came back from New York City. I had the best time. I got to see one of my friends, Becca, who just recently moved there. So it was so nice to see her thriving in her new environment because she's living out her New York City dreams, which I love for her. I do hope she comes back to Miami because I miss her so much because it was just so, she's just one of those friends who's just like, you have such deep conversations with and it's so fulfilling and you just leave feeling really good. And she's been a new character in my life, just like this past year, but we've really started to like nurture our friendship on a more personal level more recently. And I'm just so blessed to have her in this season of my life. And hopefully for future seasons, I think she's just somebody who is super aligned with me and the person I am today and who I want to be. And she is just a really wonderful person. So it was so nice getting to spend a full like 36 hours with her. I don't think we've ever just like had that amount of one-on-one time together. And it was just really special. And it's something that I'll cherish. So I really loved that time that I had with her. And then I got to see my best friend Haley get married to the love of her life, and that was also just such a special experience. I not only got to see her, but also a lot of my friends and family. It was a super small wedding, so it was very intimate and really special, and I couldn't be more happy for her, more proud of her, and I'm just supporting her through her next, phase of life. And I just couldn't be feeling like more surrounded by love and just really positive people. So that's kind of what like led me to talk about this topic today, is because a lot of people who I, used to be friends with or have been characters in my life or, pivotal moments in my life who are no longer in my life, I can see now that they don't fit in and they wouldn't have, but they created me. They shaped me and formed me into the person I am today. I'm so grateful that friendships have come into my life and also that friendships have left my life. And I think if you're going through a friendship breakup or you need to break up with somebody, it's hard to see that letting them go might actually be the best thing for you. Or it's hard to be okay with that. Friendship breakups are really difficult. You don't see that right away, but let me tell you, letting things go is the best thing that you can do sometimes. It doesn't mean you have to hate that person, or it doesn't mean that that time of your life was a waste. All these things are leading you to the person that you're supposed to be and to the highest version of yourself. And if you're constantly fighting it, of course, T has the zoomies. If you are fighting it or resisting it or holding on to it for too long, you might be stunting your own growth, or you might be preventing other amazing people from coming into your life. So that's kind of like where we're going to be going with this conversation. But I just wanted to like preface you a little bit, and hopefully that brings you a little bit more comfort now going into this episode, where you can kind of let your guards down and be like, you know what, let me hear Nicole out because this might actually be a good thing. So yeah, but another thing that kind of actually sparked this conversation, besides me having a wonderful weekend and seeing people who I really, really love and enjoy and are such important people in my life, is that I actually was confronted with seeing somebody who was an ex-best friend of mine. That was also an interesting feeling because you guys know the story about Jessica. If you don't, she was somebody who was a really close friend of mine when I moved to Miami. She actually was one of my first friends in Miami, and we connected really fast, and she was in a very important part of my life. She was my secondhand man. We did everything together at the beginning of our relationship. And she was somebody who I was like, oh, like this is my best friend. Like I don't envision a life that she doesn't exist in. We had our relationship problems, but for the most part, I loved her and I loved our friendship, and we had an amazing friendship while it lasted. Well, there were problems, like I said, like we shared a lot of laughs, we shared a lot of memories. That is undeniable. We had good times together. If you want to listen to that episode, I think it's I don't even know when it was. Oh, thank you. While I'm here, I'm looking at my own page. Thank you guys for the 5 stars. Go ahead and leave a rating and review. Oh, besties to blocked. If you want to go back to that episode, I talk about all the details of that and unpack that situation. So besties to blocked, it was in February. So you got to do a deep little scrolliana. So me and her haven't spoken, and I've definitely seen her around like here and there from like across the street or something, but just recently I saw her like in my building in a very close proximity, and I'm like, does she live here? Anyways, that doesn't matter, but I was actually in my therapy session when I saw her too. I was like in a part of my building that I never am because I had cleaners. It was just like a bunch of little things that had to happen for me to like see her in my building. I am like on FaceTime with my therapist, and I'm like, well, this is something that's just unfolding right in front of us, but like right behind me is my ex-best friend. It's just an interesting feeling to see somebody who you used to be able to run up to and say hi to. Or this would have been really exciting for her to be like in my building, you know, if she like moved in, if we were friends, and then to see her and be like, you're a stranger at this point. And I don't really know what's going on in your life, and you don't know the person that I am today, and I don't know who you are today, right? She's like, how do you feel? And I was like, I don't know. I don't feel angry. I don't feel sad. I don't feel any type of way. I guess I just feel like a little bit weird about it. And she was like, well, what do you want the exchange to be like? Or like, do you see a friendship there? And I was like, no. I think to go back would be to welcome something into my life that wanted to leave and had to leave. And I think to welcome that back would maybe bring me back to a place that I don't want to be. There were problems with our friendship, and that clearly ran its course. And going back to that, I don't think would do anybody any good. She was like, okay, well, do you think you could just be cordial? And I was like, oh, absolutely. And she's like, great, maybe your exchange just looks like a, hey, how are you? And that's all it has to be. And I was like, yeah, that's it. It was just really interesting because I feel like in the past, maybe when we're younger, we think if we see an ex-best friend, it has to be this whole big thing, and we get really upset and up in arms, or we want to go back to that friendship, or we just, you know, want to create drama, or I don't know. I've definitely been there where it's like when I was in high school or college, you have a friendship breakup and it's like so much drama surrounding it, people talking about it. You see them in the hallway and it's like blue, like whispers or whatever. I just feel like when you're older, it's really refreshing to understand that people come into your life as lessons and their experiences and their growth opportunities. And it doesn't have to be this whole thing where you see them again and then you have all this anger or resentment or really desire to make it anything more than it is. You know, like I'm able to see that friendship and just be like really okay with it and happy with how things played out. And it was just really, I guess, refreshing. I was just able to reflect back a little bit. And it made me think about, you know, another friendship that, you know, recently ended in my life. And I think that this is just really relatable because everybody has to experience a friendship breakup. I think if you don't experience a friendship breakup, I don't know. I think like we grow and we change and we evolve as people. And to hold on to every single friendship is a little bit like, I think it's impossible. I think we outgrow people and it's completely normal. And it doesn't always have to be this big thing, but sometimes the friendship breakups are dramatic, and sometimes our first idea of relationships besides our parents are our friends, like when we're younger. And maybe we don't really know what a toxic relationship is until it's through a friendship. And that's where we start to learn and develop who we are and what we look for in people and the people around us. And it's really hard when you're younger to understand a toxic relationship. I remember like looking back now at high school and this girl who was like my sister, like, you know, when you have really close family ties and you just stay at their house all the time and you're basically just part of the family. She was my sister, but I loved her so much and I will never regret that friendship. Obviously, like we served a purpose in each other's lives. She got me through a lot of high school and she helped develop me as a character. But looking at it, I'm like, that was a toxic friendship. She was jealous. She was insecure. She made everything about her. And I didn't notice that at that time. Like, I was just like, I didn't want to not be friends with her because of what people would say or think, or because of the idea of not having a best friend in high school, like, and maybe potentially walking away from a friendship and being lonely. I had other friends, but she was like my best friend. It takes a lot of self-love and growth to come to a point in your life where you can recognize a toxic friendship, and despite the love that is there, despite the good times, despite the laughs, despite the memories that you guys have together, to still want better for yourself and be able to walk away from it, because big picture, they're not aligned with who you want to be. You don't look up to them. You don't like how they make you feel. When you walk away from that situation, you don't have fulfilling conversations. Whatever it is, you're not afraid to let go of that person because you know that you deserve better, because you know who you are. And we need those people to come into our lives for us to establish boundaries, for us to grow, for us to evolve, and for us to become the highest version of ourselves, for us to realize like what we want and we don't want in our lives, because we are forming our lives and the people are also forming our lives for us. To bring this into like another relatable or recent story, and I'm not going to get into the details of it because I think it's pointless, but if you know me, you've probably noticed that there's somebody who isn't present on my social media anymore who used to be. We had a pretty short friendship, I guess. It was like only about a year friendship, and it was a very quick, close friendship where we just immediately became really close friends. We became very close very fast, and I never would have expected it to end the way that it did. But looking at it now, there were things about our friendship that weren't healthy. There were things that I definitely looked past. There were problems in that friendship that I looked past. I made excuses for certain things, and I didn't always like the way that that person made me feel. I think if that person were to listen to this now, they would maybe be like, that would come as a shock to them because I never really expressed that. And that was a personal problem for me. I was afraid a little bit of what people might think if I wasn't friends with this person anymore. I let this person go. It was a bit of a toxic friendship where I would have been scared to end that friendship too. This friendship helped me develop in ways that I never could have imagined. And I don't look at this friendship that just ended in my life with any anger or hurt, honestly, or resentment or any ill will. I really look at it and I'm just like I can even look at photos and videos and just be like, that was a really fun time. You know, like I did enjoy my time with that person. And it's good to know that, instead of just being like, why did I do that? You know, beating myself up for being friends with somebody who, looking at it now, I'm just like, how could I be friends with somebody who treated me like that or did that to me? And it's like, well, because of this. And I appreciate the good memories that we have, and I will cherish those forever. I think that person came into my life for a reason. Like, people come into your life for a reason. Some cycles are shorter than others, and we had a really fast, fiery friendship. I can look at the relationship now, and again, this is nothing bad towards this person. It's just we don't really fit into each other's lives anymore. I don't think that our futures were aligned. I don't think they would support the person I am becoming or who I wanted to become. And I think that they did at that time. But looking at it now, I'm like, who I am now, they would not have supported this or been a positive energy into my life. And there were times within that friendship that, you know, I didn't feel safe. And there were things that I didn't like. And I was sacrificing some things. When it did end, I kind of just let it go and I let it end. And I let it be. And I didn't try to chase after this person. And I didn't try to fix things. And I didn't hope that they would text me to fix things, honestly. I was able to have the amount of self-love and confidence in myself to know that this person doesn't have space or room in my life anymore. And I'm not going to chase them to make them fit into my life or mend things out of fear of what people, because I'm afraid of what people might say if they realize that we're not friends, or what this person might say about me, because of course they have a version, you know, their personal experience. And flipping it, I had to come into that person's life for a reason. And I served a purpose in their life for a reason, and they had to let it go for their own reasons, or things happened for them, unfolded for them for their own reason. And I think what was really friendship ending for me in it was that when we got into an initial disagreement, and let me just say, there's nobody in my life who I argue with. There's no friend in my life who I fight with. We can have little disagreements. We can have moments where we need to communicate. We can have moments of miscommunication where we just talk things through. But there's no friend in my life who we actually fight and who, there's highs and lows and I don't talk to or this or that. This person was one of the only people, and she was, my best friend at this phase in my life, who we would, get into some arguments and fiery ones where maybe we didn't talk, or there was some words exchanged that weren't very nice. Like when we got into this fight, that was basically the fight that led to our demise, and we haven't spoke since that fight. I was like, there's no friend in my life who we would be yelling at each other or that would bring out this version of me. I don't raise my voice ever. I don't really get upset like that ever. I did. And I will admit that I did raise my voice because I was so upset and I was so hurt that this person couldn't see my side of things or didn't want to. Somebody who's a good friend is going to try to see your side of things and will be able to admit if they were wrong. And this person didn't want to and never would. And I started to realize that people can only meet you where they've met themselves, and they have their own perception of things. And this person, no matter what, whether it be this disagreement or another one that would have been down the line, if they're not willing to see my side of things or somebody else's side of things, that's not somebody who I want in my life. I don't want somebody who it's your way or the highway. I want somebody who's really, can be like, what, I was wrong there. I should have done something differently there. Or, that's like a healthy friendship. And this person literally saying, I stand by what I did. I did nothing wrong. And, I won't see your side of things. That's it for me. I'm not going to try to argue my point across. I'm not going to try to make this person see things the way I see them, because clearly we don't see things the same. This just showed me that we see things differently, and we are in different phases of our life. Because of that, there's no reason for me to try to make her see the side of things that I see. It was useless, and it just, like I said, it showed we're in such different phases of our lives. And I think at that point I was like, we've outgrown each other. We're different. We want different things. We see things differently. And that was it. And that's why the friendship ended, not because of the specific thing that happened, but for me, because we see life differently. We see things differently. I don't want people in my life who are at a selfish phase of their life, who lack the confidence to say, I'm sorry and I was wrong. I want people in my life who have the emotional intelligence and maturity to own up to their shit or to see different perspectives or side of things, and who want to constantly uplift their friends or make them friends feel good about themselves, and not just uplift their friends or make them friends feel good about themselves when it also benefits them, or do things for their friends when it also benefits them. That person came into my life for a reason, and they left my life for a reason, and I'm okay with the ending of a friendship. There were moments, I think, when that friendship initially ended that I was like, wow, this sucks, or I wish I could send this person or text this person this, or like, this is something that we were supposed to do together and stuff like that, or like old pictures would pop up on my phone. And I think nostalgia can put you back in a place where you can be like, did I make the right decision, or should I reach out to that person, or should I allow that person back into my life? And when those times happen, I think it's really important for you to remember where you stand, remember to do an act of self-love that day and take care of yourself, and to have a list of standards of things that you require from friends and the people in your life and who you surround yourself with. We can let our mind go a little bit crazy. And there are times in this friendship where I was like, should I not have done that? Should I not have done that? Should I have handled things differently? Should I have tried to put her back into my life? And then when I look back to like a list or a checklist, or, compare her to the people who are in my life or have been in my life for a really long time, I'm like, wait, no, she's not somebody who fits into my life, because these people have never made me feel that way. And these things have never happened with those people. And these are the people who've been the longest standing friendships in my life and who continue to be. I think it's really important when you are experiencing a friendship breakup, and similar to relationships and dating, I always say, like, to have your list of non-negotiables, the list of things that you want from a person in your life. It's important to have those for friendships too, because friendships are just as important. Those are very valuable relationships. Have a list, because it's very easy to let friends get away with things, right? Because we're not going home with them at the end of the night. I'm not marrying my friends. So it's kind of easy to be like, well, that's not like my life partner, so I can let them get away with that. Or, that's not the person that I'm sharing a bed with, so we can go to bed angry at each other. Things like that. And it's just kind of like, no, your friendships are just as valuable and shape you just as much as relationships in your life. And having toxic friendships can make you see yourself differently, can be the difference between you enjoying and loving your life and not. Just some quick things to think about with either the friendships that are currently standing in your life or future friendships is this. You should probably check in and do this right now, and you can think about, you want to keep certain people in your life by just checking through this list. Do they influence me positively? I only want friends who are a positive influence to me. I don't want friends who tempt me to be a version of myself who I don't want to be, or bring out a bad version of me, or a version of me that I've moved away from or moved on from. I want friends who positively impact my life and push me to do things, push me to become the person that I am becoming or want to become. How do they make me feel? Do I walk away from that friendship? Do I walk away from that interaction feeling drained? Or do I walk away from that feeling better, uplifted, and good about myself? Which is another point of, what is that person's relationship with themselves? When you're friends with somebody who's insecure, who's jealous, who doesn't love themselves, who is involved in toxic relationships or friendships in their lives, is that somebody that you want to be friends with? I want somebody who respects themselves and loves themselves and is secure in themselves, because those make the best friends. The people who are secure, the people who know what they stand for, who show up for themselves, who have boundaries, and who have standards for themselves and for the people around them. So a person who respects themselves is going to respect you, and it is a person who is secure in themselves is not going to project negative things onto you. They're going to want what's best for you. So look at the people's, not even how they make you feel, but how those people feel about themselves. And then you're able to gauge kind of like, if this is somebody who I want in my life. Do they connect to the highest version of myself? Are they connecting to the person that I am when I'm my best, or are they only around when I have when there's drama, when I'm sad, when I'm this and when I'm that? Like, can this person connect to me when good things are happening to me, or when I'm elevating? Are they elevating with me? Are they lifting me up, or are they dragging me down? Do I feel fulfilled? Do you walk away from that feeling fulfilled? Do you feel good about yourself? Are our conversations meaningful? This is so important. What do your conversations look like with this person? Do you only gossip? Do they only come to you with bad news? Do they only come to you when they have good news? Or can you sit and can you have meaningful conversations, and can they share things with you, and can you share things with them that make you feel closer? Or can they offer an opinion that maybe you don't see, or can they teach you something? Like, these are such important things. I don't like surface level shallow friendships. Those aren't really people who I carry in my life, who are taking up like a lot of my friendship capacity. Do I get excited to spend time with them? That's so important. It's like, do you look forward to spending time with this person, or are you like, ugh, is it like a task? Does it feel like a chore to have to entertain this person? If it feels like that, then that's a clear indicator that maybe this isn't somebody who deserves or should be in your life. Do I trust them? Are they loyal to me? Do I think this person talks about me behind my back? If somebody were to come to this person with something about me, would they defend me? Would they have my back? Would they tell me? Can I tell this person my secrets? That's trust is just the basic, if there's no trust, if there's no respect, if there's no loyalty, what do we have? We have nothing. That's just the bare minimum for a friendship: trust, loyalty, respect. If that's not there, what are we doing? I think this goes hand in hand with, do they influence me positively? But it's like, do I respect who they are? Are they somebody who I look up to? I think that's also important. You don't have to want to be the same exact person as your friends. You don't have to have the same aspirations and goals, but like, do I like how they live their life? Is it a life that I want to live? Because essentially if they're in your close circle, like, you're going to become them. You're going to share each other's lives. You're going to be sharing a lot of experiences. So do I like how that person operates? Do I like how they live their life? Do I like the way that their weekends look? Because you might be involved in their weekends. So it's like, are we doing the same things? Are we shaping a life together that we both like? Like, are we doing fulfilling things together? Or are we just going to the bars and drinking? Are we going to the clubs? Or like, are we doing more things together? Is the energy and effort reciprocated? Does this feel like a fair friendship? Are they just taking? That's so important. It's like, if I'm giving this energy to this person, I expect the same energy in return. Do they accept me? Are they judging me? That's important. People who I've had plenty of best friends who have judged me, who I didn't feel safe going to talk to about certain things. That's not a friendship. You should always feel safe talking to your friends about anything. They should not judge you. They should accept any version of yourself. They should accept you in the version that you are now. And they should accept the version that you are becoming, or who you want to become, or who you want to become. Yeah, you don't want friends who try to change you, manipulate you, gaslight you, anything to either mold into them or to hold you back, or to just change your mind about things. If they don't let you be authentically yourself, if you don't feel like you can be authentically yourself with them, then they're probably not somebody who you should keep really close to you. That's just a really good list it's a big list, but these are all important things to reflect on and think about. And it's like, do I have people in my life as fillers, or are they genuine, really good friendships? And I think that's so important, is don't just have fillers. Don't just have people surrounding you because you're afraid to be lonely. And I say in quotes, lonely. If you're feeling lonely, then you're not giving yourself enough self-love. I get, like, we want companionship, but if you're not happy coming home to yourself every day and spending time with yourself, if that's what it has to be, then you're not giving yourself enough love. You're not treating yourself with love, respect, kindness, and all these things that you expect from other people. You should be excited to have nights just to yourself, and you shouldn't be afraid to let things go if that means temporary feelings of discomfort. If you are hanging on to friendships or people who don't serve you, then you are limiting and you're stunting yourself. And I can honestly say that if I didn't have a best friend in my life right now and I was just spending weekends alone, which honestly I have best friends in my life right now and amazing friendships, and I do spend some weekends alone because I genuinely enjoy my company, and it's never about loneliness. It's never, whatever. It's just like, if you're not okay with being alone, then you need to give yourself a little bit more self-love and stop having such a scarcity mindset, because you have to let go of the past for new things to come in. Things have to fall apart to come together. I can say that after both of my toxic friendships ended, they were replaced by amazing people. And it's not going to be immediate, but people are going to come in and out of your life. People are going to cycle through your life, and it takes letting people go for new people to come in. And every single time that I let somebody go, somebody new comes in who aligns with who I am today and the person that I want to be. And that, if that doesn't show you that God and the universe, put people in your life or things happen for a reason, then I don't know what does. Just having the confidence to let people go and telling yourself, I deserve better and I deserve healthy friendships and good friendships and people who respect my boundaries, will do you wonders. And if that means having some weekends alone, going to restaurants yourself, all that stuff, all of that is playing a part in your character development and who you are. And all of those things are going to lead you to somebody that you want to become and somebody who's more aligned with who you are today. So like if I held on to every ex-boyfriend or every ex-friendship in my life, I wouldn't even know who I was. It would show that I don't stand for anything. It would show that I don't love myself, and I would probably not be very happy or satisfied with the person I am, and I wouldn't be developing. I feel like I covered like losing a friend. We've talked about an actual friendship breakup and reasons why you might have to break up with a friend, or when friendship breakups happen, how to handle them or whatever that means. But how about when you have to break up with a friend and nothing happened? I think that's the hardest thing. I don't want to say blessed, but like it kind of feels like a blessing in the sense where I had to avoid that really awkward, uncomfortable conversation of like nothing happening with a friend, but then being like, hey, like, I think I need to take a step back from my friendship. I think it's really hard to have that conversation. I'll admit to that. When there's an argument or something that happens, it's a lot easier because you can just use that argument as a scapegoat of why your friendship ended. But when there's nothing that happens and you're just feeling like, hey, this isn't like a friendship for me anymore. This isn't a relationship that I want to entertain in my life anymore, but nothing particularly big happened, but it's a bunch of little things, or you're just changing as a person. That's a tough conversation to have. That's an uncomfortable conversation to have with somebody because they might not feel that same way, especially if they're kind of the ones that with the upper hand or who are using you. They're going to take it personally. They're going to be offended. They're going to make you feel bad about it. So if you have to end a friendship, I think the best thing to do would one just be like, again, have that list so then you have that to fall back on of like when they maybe try to make you feel guilty or feel bad, or when they try to maybe spin it on you and be like, well, you're not a good friend at X, Y, and Z. It's like you can refer back to that list and be like, no, these are the reasons why. You don't have to say this out loud, but mentally you can log these and be like, this is why I'm not this person's friend anymore. And I think I just talked to my therapist about this actually like last week, and it was about setting boundaries. And if you set a boundary with somebody, and that's essentially what a friendship breakup is, it's almost like you can either decide to have this person in your life at whatever capacity that you want. If they don't respect that boundary and they blow up about it, then that boundary probably had to be set. So I think if somebody is really making you feel like a bad person, or makes you feel bad about you having to take some time for yourself or space for yourself, then that's a clear indication that that person was using you, or maybe in your life for the wrong reasons, or that friendship was maybe selfish. I think when you're doing a breakup, you can't attack that person and what they've done, because that person, they are who they are, and you probably will never be able to make somebody see exactly how you see things or make you feel exactly how you feel things, because we all experience and feel and perceive things differently because we are who we are. There's no other way to describe it as who I am. The way that I see everything or feel everything is going to be different than somebody else because we are two different people, and it's impossible to make somebody ever understand or feel exactly how you feel. So make it I statements and just be like, I have been feeling this type of way. When you're breaking up with somebody, make sure that you're doing it because it's about you and it's not about them. To just be like, I have been feeling this type of way, or there are some things that have led me to feel, there have been a few things that have led me to feel this way, and you can explain them. I don't think that there's a point in hashing out or pointing out all the negative flaws or details about this person, but it could just be like, I didn't like the way that when we went through this, how this made me feel. And that's completely valid. You don't have to attack their character or anything like that, but you could just be like, I was uncomfortable with that situation, or I was uncomfortable with how that was handled. I think I just need to take some time to myself, for myself, and really just leave it at that. I don't think that there's, like I said, a point to defending yourself or over explaining yourself. I think I've reached a point in my life where I don't really have to explain things that I do anymore, because it's just, I feel how I feel, and that's valid in itself. And if I feel like you're not supposed to be in my life anymore, then that's my intuition leading me there and telling me that, and that's valid in itself. I don't need to explain myself, and leave it at that. And there's no anger, there's no, resentment. I don't think that there needs to be it needs to be like a whole big thing. That being said, there's also times when maybe friendships don't have to end. Maybe you just haven't communicated yet, or maybe you just haven't had that vulnerable conversation with that person. So if this person is somebody who maybe you just had a few disagreements with, or maybe you feel as though things were a miscommunication, don't be an avoidant and don't be quick to just rid this person of your life because you didn't like how a certain situation panned out or how a certain situation made you feel. I think look at the situation, whatever it is that happened, whatever it is that you felt at this time, and think, is this something that I can move past, and what do I want a relationship with this person? Because if they take off your friendship standards and you really enjoy this person, but there's something that happened that you didn't like, that doesn't mean you have to end the friendship. This might be an opportunity for you guys to grow together, and an opportunity for you to evolve and have an uncomfortable conversation to then and open it as like, I'm having this uncomfortable conversation with you because I really do want a future with you, and I do want to continue this friendship, and I don't want this to be something that gets in the way with us. And if we can work through this, like, our friendship's going to be even stronger. And kind of preface it as that, and just being like, I'm doing this to better our relationship, and not because I want to create problems or I want to call you just to call them out on bullshit. It's like, I'm doing this because I love you and I actually really value our friendship. So let's hash this out. And it shouldn't be an argument, right? It should just be a conversation. If one of my friends came to me and said, you made me feel this way when you did this, I would be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for showing me that perspective, because I didn't see it as that. And I'm so sorry it came across that way, or I'm so sorry I made you feel that way, or I'm, whatever it was. And I would then change my behavior because I care about that person. I love that person. And I also value them. So I think that'll show you, again, like, if you come to somebody with a situation and you want to mend it, how much they value you and your friendship will be apparent in how they handle that conversation. I would not blow up something or make somebody feel bad and I wouldn't do that for anybody, but if it's somebody, a really close friend of mine, like, I would appreciate them confronting me, no matter how uncomfortable the conversation is, that I made them feel a certain type of way, because I'd be like, I also value this friendship, and I'm so happy that you feel safe to come to me with this. And that shows me that you value this and I also value this. So let's fix it together and not, attack one another, who we are, or throw it out. Because I think it's really easy to just throw out a friendship too, if maybe you don't really care. And somebody who maybe doesn't really value you and you come to them with this, it's going to show them, again, how much they care about you. If they're just willing to throw things out or be like, my way or the highway, or I can't see your perspective, then it's like, okay, well then you never really cared about this friendship. It was one-sided and you were just taking. And it was just convenient for you. And any relationship, again, if things come up and they're not willing to work through it with you, it just shows that they disliked the convenience and the easiness of the relationship, but they weren't actually willing to put the work in to make your relationship stronger, better for the long run. It's really easy to just throw something out that you don't care about. And if you care about it, you're not going to want to throw it out, right? I'm so sorry I went in so many directions with this episode, but I hope it was helpful in the sense of you knowing that people come in and out of our lives for a reason, and it's completely normal, and it's just part of the human experience. And you're never going to really see it coming. You don't really see people coming into your life, so you also don't really see them leaving. But with a little time and space and growth, you are able to one day reflect back or see things for what they are. And I think, like, it becomes easier as you get older, know yourself more and love yourself more, to let things go and not take things personally, and to not chase things that don't belong. This friendship breakup, even though we had such a strong friendship and I loved this person and they were a big part of my life, letting the friendship go was really easy. And that's not because I didn't value it, but it's because I can see, just logically looking at it, that this person doesn't fit into my life anymore. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It doesn't mean that I don't like them. It doesn't mean anything, just besides the point where the relationship ran its course and we outgrew each other pretty fast. we couldn't meet each other at the same point in our lives. We were just different. And because I know what I expect and what I deserve out of my friendships, and because I have enough love and care for myself to not allow somebody in my life who isn't serving me, it's easy to let it go, to appreciate it for what it was, and to understand that we grow through arguments and disagreements and these experiences. I only know what I know because I've been through a lot of friendships that are maybe bad for me, and also friendships that are good for me. And I'm able to compare a healthy friendship to a not healthy friendship. And I'm able to scope things out sooner, and I'm able to let things go easier because I know what it feels like to be in healthy friendships. And I know what I expect from my friendships because I know who I am and who I show up as in my friends' lives. And I can't be friends with everybody, and I can't be best friends with everybody, and I can't have a million best friends. It's just impossible to connect with that many people at a close level. You also can look at it and be like, the less people in my life, the better. I'd rather have a small circle of really close friends than a larger circle of not as close friends, who maybe people who I don't trust, or maybe people who aren't the best for me. But that just about wraps up today's episode. I hope that was helpful and insightful, and I hope it wasn't too personal. I just want you to know that everything works out, and there's going to be times of discomfort, or when you lose a friend, it's going to suck and it's going to be hard, but I promise you it happened for a reason. And to just let things ride out and to trust that somebody is removed from your life for a reason. The second that you're okay with letting that go, and the second that you don't take it personally, is the moment that you pour more into yourself, and life just becomes easier and better when you just kind of accept things as they are and trust that the universe and God has a plan for you. And it's all developing you into the person that you are supposed to be. All of the imperfections, all the bad parts of life lead you to the perfect parts of life, and lead you to, who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. And that's pretty much it. So make sure you're following me on all platforms: TikTok, Nicole_Doyon, Instagram, Nicole Doyon, here on YouTube, Nicole Doyon, and Snapchat, Nicole Doyon. I love you all so freaking much. I will see you on next week's episode of Girl Therapy. Bye.